like he looks like a fish. Like his face, it kind of resembles something like a fish. And that got me thinking, like, if he's a variant, could he be like a fish variant? Welcome back to Unlimited. Before we get started, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, check us out on Instagram as well at Unlimited Pod. I got a great guest today. We're going to be talking some Marvel with him. UBC baseball player, Marvel fan, sports fan in general, big Jays fan, Nathan Shute. Nathan, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been following since you started, and it's great to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate all the followers, and I appreciate that comment. So yeah, you reached out a while ago. I've wanted to get you on. I've put your name down on a list of people that I had to get on. So it makes sense to get you on now. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be focusing on some Marvel today. Loki, first 3 episodes. And we're also going to talk a bit of WandaVision and probably some future MCU titles as well. Nathan's a big Star Wars fan. I am not, but I'm going to try and get a conversation going with Star Wars. I'll ask Nathan as many questions as I'm able to ask. And then I feel like we'll talk a little bit of sports at the end because, like I said, Nathan, he's a UBC baseball player. I feel like I have to talk some baseball with you. It just makes sense. And then get your Stanley Cup predictions as well, because why not? It's exciting times for the NHL. So let's start off with Loki. You binge watched them all last night in preparation for this podcast.
That I did.
What are your thoughts on the series so far then?
I think out of all of the this mini series or whatever you want to call them that have come out, I think this is the best one so far. Like WandaVision started off strong, but then it sort of petered off towards the end, and there was sort of like no conclusive ending. I really couldn't even get into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but this one has like a very cool premise where Loki's like stuck. Spoiler alert, by the way. Where he's
yeah, big spoiler alert for this entire podcast. Because yeah, go watch the episodes if you haven't already. But yeah,
where he's stuck helping sort of the time police or whatever you want to call them, and interesting how he's like, I don't know, it's just a cool premise. I don't really know what to say.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything like it in any other MCU title so far. But let's go to Falcon and Winter Soldier quickly, because you haven't watched, or you watched a few of the episodes, I guess, and then you stopped.
Yeah, I watched the first little bit.
What didn't you like about it? Like, why did you stop watching?
I don't know. I just found it to be like a little bit more like political. Like they were trying to make political statements as opposed to telling just quality superhero content. That's and true. The characters themselves, I'm like, they're right. Sort of just 2 average dudes. Like they don't really have as good a backstory as the other Marvel superheroes and all of that sort of stuff. So it's just it was just sort of flat for me, and I could never really get into it.
Yeah, I get that. I've heard that a lot, actually. And I would agree with what your statement was. I would say Loki is probably the best one. And then I'd say WandaVision second, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier third. I will have to say the first episode of Loki, in my opinion, was the best one so far. I think they hit it out of the park with that one. Just the backstory, how Loki got there, where he actually went with the Tesseract in Endgame, and then just setting up that story. I think also just basically showing him his entire life was really cool, especially the death scene and all that stuff. But in my opinion, I think the episodes have gotten worse and worse. I don't know if you've agreed with that, or
agree with you. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Like episode 3 was sort of like, every sort of show has those like filler episodes. That one felt like a filler to me. Like there was not much character development. Like the most character development had to have been in the first episode, where he's like going through his life with a fine-tooth comb, and he's like having a moral, or he's having an epiphany about his life and all that sort of stuff. So he's like, I don't know, like Loki as a girl, I don't really understand the premise or whatever at the point we are in the show right now. But like the scenery and all that stuff is gorgeous.
Oh, it's like amazing.
Their world building is second to none. They do a very good job of using the Loki character in such a way that you don't mess up the timeline, because he's actually supposed to be dead from Infinity War.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Well, because he did mess up the timeline, right? And then that's why he got taken by the TVA. But then apparently that thing that they had, that device that they put on the ground in episode 1 resets the timeline. It
Yeah.
like resets it so that Loki did not actually get pulled into the TVA, and he just resumed in his normal sacred timeline slot or whatever. It's
Yeah.
kind of
And then,
confusing to understand, but I think I've sort of wrapped my head around it. But also, like, there's this one moment that I'm just completely tripped out about still, and I was talking to a couple of friends about it. You know how in Endgame, so like after Loki takes the Tesseract, and then the aftermath of him doing that was Tony and Cap going to New Jersey to get the Tesseract from that um, Shield base, right?
yeah.
Like, why would they do that if that wasn't supposed to happen, right? Because they only did that because Loki took the Tesseract, which, according to the TVA, Loki was not supposed to take the Tesseract. So were the Avengers not supposed to go back to the 1970s as well? Because they
That's a
only
very
did
good, that's a very
exactly.
good point. I
Yeah.
never really considered it. Yeah. Like,
So
um,
like the only way that I can see that working is like maybe right before the TVA reset that timeline, Cap and Tony had already gone back to the 1970s or something. So they were in a different timeline. I like maybe. I'm not sure. But
yeah,
also,
I guess the only way around it would be they reset the timeline. Future Tony Stark and Captain America are already gone, and then Loki's in custody,
yeah, exactly.
and the
That's probably,
Tesseract is still there.
yeah, that might be the only way to get around that. But also some people are just saying that like the TVA is kind of just like an illusion and it's not real even. It's just
I
three
That's what
giant
I thought
lizards
initially.
that are kind of just like a myth. They don't even exist.
Yeah,
Um
I can believe that.
yeah, and yeah, we'll get into that stuff, but I guess just going back to like episode 3 now. What did you think of that episode? It's a bit of a shorter one. It's like 43 minutes. And
Yeah.
yeah, lots of story
Um.
building, like in terms of Sylvie and Loki's character. They had a lot of
Yeah.
conversations between the two of them, and I think it was kind of just like that filler episode, like you said. But what did you
Yeah.
think of just that episode?
I don't know. Like, I don't really understand. I don't really get like their chemistry. Like, it seems like they have chemistry, but like, is she like a full? Is she fully a Loki or whatever? Like, I haven't quite wrapped my head around the premise of like how Loki becomes a girl if like Loki was always a guy in the sacred timeline and they only branch off from the sacred timeline.
Yeah, yeah, it gets
But
confusing. Like in the first episode, if you look at like Loki's file, it says his gender as fluid. So that means that he is a
oh
boy and a girl in like different. But then again, like in the sacred timeline, he is always a boy, right? He's
yeah,
always male. So that doesn't really make sense. But
yeah,
like where did this
unless
Sylvie character exactly come from? That's kind of what we still haven't gotten an answer to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the reveal, like I feel like they could have put off the reveal longer for who the variant that they're fighting is. Because like
Yeah.
the first episode makes them out to the first and like the beginning of the second episode make this person out to be like this crazy, scary villain, and then it's sort of just like it sort of just seems like a regular person who's like good at fighting. So
Exactly. It's just another Loki. It's another Loki. Nothing too scary
yeah,
about that. But I mean, like in the eyes of the TVA, this variant is really powerful, and she's trying to basically take down the TVA. I guess like we saw her break into the TVA in this episode. I think her plan is to kind of like get into the TVA, the timekeepers like chamber or wherever they are, like on a secret floor or like a different room of the TVA that they're hidden in, and I guess kill them essentially, and maybe take over and rule the TVA instead. But I'm sure we're kind of like in WandaVision. You know how in episode 8 there was like a bunch of flashbacks to kind of like how everything started.
yeah,
I think we're gonna get something similar in this one because
yeah,
like we gotta have to know like Sylvie's childhood, like exactly how she got to the TV, or how she first knew about the TVA in the first place, why this plan of hers came into action. Um,
Yeah.
and then also like the big reveal with this episode is that all the TVA workers are variants, but they
Yeah, that's
don't
what I was
know,
gonna say.
that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
But
cannot believe that.
that seems very counterintuitive for how Loki knows he's a variant, but all the other ones don't know they're a variant. So like what makes him so special when like the TVA has to come pick you out of the timeline and then reset it? So wouldn't everybody know that they're a variant? Or I guess there's some timekeeper nonsense going on there.
Yeah. Well, what is? I think it has something to do with being reset. Like Loki, when he got taken into the TVA, he wasn't reset at all. But what does reset even mean? Like, does that mean like just straight up killing them, or does that mean like wiping your memory? Because I
Mm.
feel like the TVA, like all the workers in the TVA, probably just were variants that the timekeepers brought in, but their memories are completely wiped. So, or like they're very like vague. Like, you know how in the second episode, like Mobius was talking about like jet skis and stuff. So maybe like he does have some memory from his past life, like doing something like at a beach with jet skis, but he doesn't actually know that he's a variant because the timekeepers or whatever wiped his mind like as soon as he got there or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like he's just a fragmented of his actual timeline self.
Yeah.
And so he only remembers like the few things I guess that they let him remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
It's
I don't
kind
know,
of
I like it's
so
still
many
early in the
connections.
show, so we kind of
Yeah.
gotta like wait and see what happens. But
hmm This thing's gonna end fast. There's only 3 more episodes. It's only a 6 episode show. I can't believe that.
yeah, they seem to be trying to churn out as many different types of TV shows, short movies, like all that sort of stuff, like as quickly as possible.
Yeah, there's quick turnaround. Yeah, and then Black Widow's coming out in like a couple weeks too. So I guess they just want to get it done before then. I think
Yeah.
it'll end like the same week or something. But
Yeah, because
yeah,
I think I heard they're releasing like something every week that is like their strategy till like October or whatever.
really.
I think
Hmm.
that's what I heard. Or maybe that was more for when WandaVision first came out and they were releasing something every week. They might go on a
Yeah.
bit of a hiatus.
I don't know. I think the next like TV show is called What If, and that's like an animated one. I don't know when that's being released, but maybe it comes out right after Loki. Um, but so I know I don't think he's a villain. He's kind of like the narrator in that show. He's called the Watcher. I don't know if you've heard of him, but
I'm not fully invested in the comics. So
I haven't been invested in the comics either, but I think he basically just watches over everything, and I wonder if he has anything to do with the timekeepers at all. Because if the timekeepers are like so high up in power, where is the Watcher? Like, is he above them? Is he below them? So
yeah.
there might be some tie into the What If show in this one. But how
Yeah,
do you?
I would
Yeah,
like to see more tie-ins to other things because like WandaVision, it was like one of the last episodes trailer. At the end of the trailer, you have Doctor Strange sort of cameo in the trailer, and then you watch the entire series and he's nowhere to be found. And
in
it's
the
like that's just a
trailer?
big yeah. It was either the finale or the episode before the finale. If you watch the trailer, Doctor Strange is in it,
No
and
way.
then
In the
yeah,
trailer. Doctor Strange is
yeah,
in the trailer?
yeah,
Oh.
and then he's just nowhere to be seen in that. So I don't know if that was a mistake on their part or if there was stuff that they put in that they decided not to put in. But yeah,
Yeah,
like having they need to do I think a better job of connecting to the future of the
right.
MCU instead of just going back to all the source material they already have. But
Like the Infinity Stone stuff you mean.
yeah,
Like yeah.
I thought that was very good though. When he goes in, he's like, "Give me the Tesseract or I'll murder you." And
Yeah.
then there's like he's just got a
Gut you like
drawer
a
full of
fish. Yeah.
yeah, and then he's just got a drawer full of Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh my god, I'm never getting out of here."
I wonder if Thanos was able to get into the TVA at some point. Like a Thanos variant or something. But no, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think Kevin Feige's plan with all these TV shows is to like like keep them separated as much from the movies, so that the people who just watch the movies aren't that confused. I think that's what he said, like in one of his quotes. But like that the Doctor Strange thing that you brought up, I didn't see him in the trailers, but apparently, in the second last episode, do you remember the Nexus commercial with the doctor and like the medicine that he handed to
Yes.
that lady? Apparently,
Yes.
that doctor was supposed to be Doctor Strange, like Benedict Cumberbatch, but
Oh.
they decided to take him out last second because they thought that it would draw too much away from Wanda's story, and everybody would just focus on Doctor Strange too much. But
I guess that's fair.
apparently Doctor Strange was the person who was making all those commercials though, and like as messages to Wanda.
Oh.
So like he had a bigger part in it than we thought. But they just decided to remove the cameo at the end.
Oh.
So I mean,
The cameo would have been good though, because he's like the most powerful sorcerer. So it's like if he's just like keeping an eye out and he's sort of like the cameo would be like he's there but he's not there. Sort of, I think you would like it would
yeah.
give the impression to the audience. But
I mean, I think throughout watching the series, we kind of assume that like Doctor Strange has to know what's going on. Like he has
yeah,
to. He's like he protects reality. Like this is Wanda breaking reality. He must know about the hex.
yeah.
But why didn't he get involved? I guess we're gonna find out in Doctor Strange 2, because it's called in the Multiverse of Madness, and also like Elizabeth Olsen is in that movie as well. So
Oh,
um, yeah,
she's on the cast for
she's on
that.
the cast for that. Yeah, she's gonna play a pretty big role, I'd imagine. So we're gonna get some answers for sure in that one. But let's hop back to Loki for a second. I will touch more on WandaVision later. But at the end of this episode, they tried to basically prevent that like ship from being destroyed, but didn't work out. They did not get there in time. I don't know how they were gonna plan on saving it in the first place, like just the
Yeah,
two of them with their
they
magic.
were
Like,
moving too slow to get on
yeah,
that ship
they were just
before.
running. Like, you gotta like none of them can fly, unfortunately, but yeah, they were just running. Like there's no way you're gonna be able to stop it.
Yeah.
But how do you think that they are gonna survive that apocalypse on Lamentis? Because clearly they survive, right? Probably.
Yeah, it's I like the most plausible answer that I was thinking of when I was watching the show is the TVA shows up and apprehends them because they messed something up in the timeline that the
Right.
TVA had to come in and fix. So I guess maybe somebody got off the planet that wasn't supposed to get off the planet, and the TVA has to show up. But that seems like a bit of a leap in logic, because like
Well,
there's nothing that really alludes to that in the episode.
that's true.
But
Unless like Sylvie and Loki just come to an agreement that like, hey, let's mess up something even more so that the TVA show up so that we can be saved and not die. And
yeah,
then they just get arrested or something.
yeah, because the Ark was the only way off the planet, so they can't escape the disaster.
Yeah.
So the only way would be because the TVA can be anywhere. The TVA
Yeah.
has to come pick them up. But
I guess unless they fix that like 10 pad that they were talking about.
yeah, that seemed like a weird like story for the episode. I don't
Yeah, it was
like
so weird.
like the tempad was the whole point of the episode, and then you just get to the end and like Loki fell on it
Yeah. Do you
and he
think that was
broke
an
it.
illusion though? Like, do you think Loki actually broke it, or do you think he could have just been like using an illusion spell to show Sylvie that it was dead so that they, I don't know, grow closer together or something, or he gets more information from her? It could be a possibility.
Yeah, like he is the god of mischief. So it's like everything we see could be an illusion. So it's like you don't. I think that's part of the fun is you don't know if he's actually being sincere. You don't know if they're actually working together or if he's got some. If there's like a plan on top of a plan on top of another plan. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll just have to like wait and see. But I would love to see like a huge reveal at the end where it's like they go back and they like and he like talks about how he had like this scheme that ends up he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time and
Yeah. He said in the second episode, I think, like, I'm 10 steps ahead of you, Mobius. Or like he was
Yeah,
talking to Mobius and he said he's like 10 steps ahead of you. Like, yeah, he does have a plan. He definitely has a plan.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. Also the in the first episode when he was looking at those infinity stones, the one that he picked up was a time stone. Um, so who knows what he did with that stone? Did he put it in his pocket or did he just drop it back into the drawer? But I
yeah.
could see maybe another situation where they end up using the time stone to reverse time and they actually do get that ship to lift off and they're saved. That would be
That's
pretty
a
sick.
that's a
But
good point. I didn't even think of that.
I mean
Yeah,
that
like I guess
it's risky though. I don't know. Because
yeah,
that
because
would
I guess
definitely cause the TVA to show up though.
because you can't. I imagine you can't use the Infinity Stones when you're in the TVA. So
No.
if he like swiped one, now he's like in reality. So like the time stone would be useful.
Yep.
And then
But yeah, I was thinking last night as well, like, how do you end up even using the time stone? Like physically use it, like use the stone. Because when Thanos used it, he had the gauntlet and he was able to like well snap in the first place, but then also if he just wanted to use the time stone, he would like clench his finger or something, I guess, to use
yeah,
it. And then Doctor Strange like would do the spell with his hands to use the time
yeah,
stone.
he's
How does Loki use the time stone? I don't understand that.
yeah. I guess it's more plausible if he uses it more than like Tony Stark, who's just like a regular Joe. So I don't know if he's got some
Right.
magic ability to make it work, or he's got something he can use for that. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. That's a good theory though. I'm gonna keep that in the back pocket for when
He
I'm
can
watching the next episodes.
he can just like turn Sylvie into an infinity gauntlet or something and then just put her on his hand and then just use it. I don't yeah. I'm not sure. Or he can just turn someone into Doctor Strange. I have no idea. But that would be a pretty sick scene if that does happen. Because yeah, I don't really know how else they can get out because that moon is gonna hit the planet very hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, 2077. So we're gonna have to wait 70 years to actually see that in the current MCU. If there
No, we
isn't
only have to wait 50 for that store in Alabama to get wiped out, or was it
right.
Alabama?
Yeah, I think so. Like that rocks cart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody has to make that in the future. Yeah. Um, but yeah, the biggest reveal was definitely that the TVA workers are variants. I need to hear some of your theories about who Mobius could be a variant of, because there's some wild ones on like Twitter. People are saying that he's just a Loki variant as well. Um, but who do you think Mobius could be a variant of?
Yeah, see the ones that you see on like Twitter or you'll see on like Reddit or whatever, like are like really out there.
Yeah.
I A part of me just thinks he's just a regular Joe and he's like just a good character who was a detective or something in his past in his regular life, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have any big plans around him.
Yeah. I don't know either. Like I don't think it really has anything to do with his look. Like I don't think he's gonna look like someone that we already know in the MCU because with Sylvie and Loki, they don't look anything alike, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, so I think Mobius's characteristics kind of resemble like a maybe like a Nick Fury almost.
Mm.
Like, could he be a Nick Fury variant? I don't know. Probably not. That's probably far fetched. But I don't think he's a Loki variant though. Like
No.
he doesn't have that mischievous like aspect to him, and he can't do
If
any
he
magic or.
if he's a Loki variant, why would he hire another Loki to hunt down a Loki variant?
Well, he
Like
doesn't know that though. He doesn't know he's a Loki
that's true, but that
variant.
just seems like that
Too
seems very
much.
convoluted
Yeah, it's like
to
wow,
get
what a
there.
coincidence. Like I'm a Loki variant too. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. Um, who else? Like Renslayer, like her character who tried to kill Loki and Sylvie
Yeah.
in the TVA. Like I don't think she's a variant either. I think she might be one of the few people in the TVA that were actually like brought in by the timekeepers, I guess, because she seems pretty high up. So and it seems like she knows some information that the other workers don't.
Yeah,
So
she's like an inside person.
yeah. So maybe she has some more power. I don't really know if she's a variant or not, but I don't know. We could be wrong. What about Casey, the guy who Loki threatened to gut like a fish? You think he's a variant of someone we know?
No, no, I don't think so.
No.
I think he's just that like I think he's like that comic relief. I think that's like his character role is like whenever they need some goofy scene to happen or whatever, they bring him in.
Right. I
Like because
was.
it was pretty comedic when he's like,
What's a
um,
fish?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
I
gut you like a fish,
I,
and
w- I
then he's
was
just like,
watching I was watching the first episode with Jay, and when we were watching it, I said like he looks like a fish. Like his face, it kind of resembles something like a fish. And that got me thinking, like, if he's a variant, could he be like a fish variant? Like in another in another reality, he's actually a fish or a fisherman or something like that. That'd be hilarious. Like if he was actually a fisherman and now he says that he doesn't know what a fish is.
yeah,
Uh,
that would be.
and then the tie-in with Mobius on the jet ski, like imagine that. Like we see a scene at the end of Mobius like on the jet ski and like Casey's like swimming with him or something like that. I don't know. We need to see that at the end. Um, but yeah. So yeah, you've liked the show so far. It's gonna be good. What are your expectations for, I guess, the future episodes? Now we got 3 left. How do you see this thing kind of going and wrapping up?
I see them. Well, obviously they're gonna have to ex machina their way out of getting off that planet. But
Yep.
I could see Loki and Sylvie somehow finding their way to the timekeepers, and then there's like a big revelation of their if they're real or not, or their existence, or what they actually do, or whatever. And then I could see them being like a duo who like works with the TVA or is a part of the TVA or whatever at the end. And
Okay.
then that sort of wraps up Loki's arc, and then might see him occasionally in other MCU products. But I don't know, like it's a very wide thing. There's a very wide amount of things that you can do with his character. So um, I don't really know.
So you think by the end of the series the TVA will still be like a thing. They'll still be standing and they won't end up being like some just illusion made up thing. Like there will be a TVA by the end of the series.
Yeah, I think so. I think the
Yeah.
TVA, like the TVA seems too powerful for it to just like cease to exist by the end of the
Right.
show.
Mhm. There is definitely something fishy about the TVA though, for sure, especially if like the workers themselves don't know that they're variants. So someone is keeping that secret from them. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna get compromised in some way, and I don't know if it's gonna completely fall apart, but I think there's a Loki season 2 that's in the works. So
Oh, so
there will probably be the TVA that continues unless there's like a bigger threat or bigger organization that comes into play for a season 2. Um, but yeah, I'm starting to think that like I think it's kind of going to be like a Wizard of Oz thing where like we expect the timekeepers to be like some big powerful person, and then they just end up being like maybe they're just statues, like they're dead, like the TVA, the timekeepers are actually dead. They have statues because they died a long time ago, and now Renslayer is like the leader of them or something like that.
I
um,
could see that where they're just like it's like a cult following or whatever you want to call it. It's their
yeah,
legacy and they just
exactly.
uphold it, but they don't tell anybody. Like the idea of them being alive is much stronger than just their memory of their legacy.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's probably going to end like that. But do you think, like in terms of Loki's storyline now, could we see him back in the current MCU timeline at all, or does that just go against like the timekeepers plan in the first place, I guess, unless Loki just escapes and goes back to his original timeline, I guess, after Infinity War, and then he joins Thor in like 2024. But or do you think he's just dead? Like he's not coming back to the current timeline?
I think in terms of like the physical threats, like the Spider-Man movies and all that sort of stuff, I think he's not going to be in like the Peter Parker timeline. But I could see
Right.
him like with the new Doctor Strange, like the Multiverse of Madness movie coming out. Like I could see him maybe making an appearance in that or have some role to play in that. Um, but in terms of like life just chilling on Earth, I don't see him coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think his storyline kind of came to a nice conclusion, just going from like strictly a villain to somewhat of a nice guy by the end of Ragnarok and the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah.
Um, and it seems like Marvel's not ruining his storyline by doing this series as well. And hopefully, like, his arc has a nice end to it by the end of, I guess, this season or season 2. Um, but yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. I'm hoping that episode 4 is a lot better than the last one because, like I said, I think they are going a bit downhill from the first one. But
Yeah.
I think episodes 4, 5, and 6 will be pretty jam packed, and there's going to be a lot going on. So
Yeah, that
um,
seems to be with most TV shows. Like the pilot and like the first like couple episodes are like very good, and then you have to get through all of like the stuff to get to the climax. And it's not, a lot of times you get lost in all this other stuff where you just sort of have filler.
yeah,
When you look back at the end of the series, you're like, oh, it doesn't seem as necessary as they
right.
made it out to be. But yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully 4, 5, and 6 are absolute bangers. And
I think they will be. Yeah. Yes,
is this the end of Phase 4 or?
this is the start of phase 4. Yeah. WandaVision kicked off the start of phase 4.
So what's the last part of
Phase
Phase 4?
the last part of phase 4,
Yeah.
that hasn't been determined yet. I think it's
Oh.
probably like the Fantastic 4 or whenever that's coming out in like
Oh, okay. So we're just
4
like in it.
years.
We're in it right
We're
now.
in the we it just got started with WandaVision. So I think like this phase is probably going to have something to do with the multiverse obviously, and like
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is going to be a big title, and Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be a big title. But I don't think this phase is going to wrap up with an Avengers movie yet. It could, but there's no like title been announced for an Avengers 5 or anything like that.
No,
Uh,
they have a lot of like gaps to bridge right now cuz like all of your staple characters pretty much are gone. Like your Captain America, your Iron Man, like all those guys are uh are gone, and then
Black Widow.
you sort of have all these other characters that are wrapping up their arc, and then you pretty much have to turn the whole thing over and start fresh. So like
I know.
Shang-Chi, the Eternals, and then like I'm assuming Spider-Man doesn't have too many movies left unless Marvel wants to milk that character.
Yeah, probably not, because apparently that movie as well is like it's a Sony movie, so I don't really know how much control the MCU or like Marvel Studios has on that movie. I've heard rumors that like after this one, like Peter Parker might just hop over to like the Sony verse and join like Venom and all those characters over there. So I hope that doesn't happen because I want to see Tom Holland Spider Man another Avengers movie for sure, and
Yeah.
like be one of the leaders of the Avengers. Uh,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
the problem with the corporate interest is you sort of they bought Spider-Man so many years ago now, and got him
yeah,
on lockdown.
they just got to buy him back. Hopefully after Black Widow, the numbers just go up again, and they have enough money to purchase Spider-Man from Sony. But
Yeah. Problem is that like they won't sell him because
yeah,
he's worth so much money.
for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit of WandaVision. A couple months ago, it was a great show. But there were a ton of questions by the end of it. With White Vision, Wanda's end credit scene, her kids, stuff like that. I guess we'll start off with White Vision. He came into the series during the final episode, and he got his memories all back from the Hex Vision, and now he just kind of shot up into the sky, and we don't know where he went. So,
Yeah.
where do you think he went? That's kind of the money question.
I think because like when Hex Vision and White Vision, they were having those like that like philosophical discussion.
Yeah.
I think he's more human or humanoid now than he's ever been. So he's less robot. So I think he's gone off to like ponder uh like his existence in the world, or like what he's supposed to do. And then I imagine he'll meet back up with Wanda at some point. But I don't know, like he's sort of, I feel like they kind of waste, like they had that really good scene where they were talking about like the ship, and if you replace all the boards in the ship, is it still the same ship?
Yeah.
And then he kind of just flies away, and they kind of like wasted, I think, like a good opportunity to have some like reconciliation with Wanda or whatever. But I
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have the slightest clue as to where he went.
I guess so. But yeah, like you said, I think they're gonna meet up again though, and there will be that conversation that they have between the two of them at some point down the road.
Yeah.
Maybe in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness potentially, or just a future Avengers movie and stuff like that. But um, I think it will take some time for him to like get those same feelings back for Wanda, especially because they haven't really talked. Like the only time that they saw each other was when White Vision like put his hands on Wanda's head at the beginning of that episode and like tried to kill her. So
Yeah.
like that's not a good thing, a good start to their relationship.
No.
But um, yeah, but yeah, I think there is a situation where they could get back together though in the future movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know really know where he went. Like I think I was saying like a while back that he might have just gone up to like space with Nick Fury potentially. Maybe he's looking for answers up there. Um yeah, maybe he's just gone to, I don't know, actually, like New York, like the Avengers compound, but even, oh, that's destroyed, so you can't go there. Um, I'm not sure. I really don't know where he could have gone because there's no Cap, there's no Tony. Maybe he went to go see Hulk because he was the one who basically made him. Maybe he wants more answers from him.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll find out in future titles. Do you think Wanda has gone like full evil now? Because in the second end credit scene, we saw her reading the Dark Hold, and the Doctor Strange music was playing over top of that as well, which might make her seem like the villain in the upcoming Doctor Strange movie. Do you think that she's gone evil, or you think she's still good, or?
I think during that whole series, she got like exposed to like the darker side of her abilities, and she got that book from who was the main villain in that?
Agatha.
Yeah, got it from her, and I think she's more just exploring it. But I could see it like somehow going wrong, and that scene is how the Doctor Strange movie starts or whatever. Like she creates an alternate timeline or something of that nature, and she has to work together with Doctor Strange. But I don't think she's going down that path.
I hope not. Like some people want her to go like and become the main villain, but I like Wanda as the good character and the good Avenger. But
Yeah, like she's such a complex character. Like
yeah,
it would seem like a waste for her to be partially the villain in Age of Ultron, and then sort of have a few redeeming qualities, but she's not quite there yet. And then she had to learn a whole lot about herself in her TV show,
yeah,
just to have her revert back
that's
to
true. Yeah,
wanting to turn the whole system over. Like that just doesn't seem,
yeah,
that
and
seems like a
then
waste of a good character.
exactly, and then go through like another story arc about redemption once again. And
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that as well.
No.
So, but I do think Wanda, like you said, could cause like the main problem in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of
Yeah.
Madness, because I think like we hear her kids calling her at the end of that end credit scene. So I think that's gonna cause her to probably go out and search for her kids in probably another timeline or another reality, using the dark hold and everything that she's learned from that book. And she's going to do something by accident again, I would say, like she did creating the hex. And then Doctor Strange is going to have to come in and there could be a battle between the two of them at first, because I think Wanda's like mission in this movie will be to find her kids, and maybe Doctor Strange is going to try and stop her from doing that. So there will be a bit of like conflict between the two, but
Yeah.
hopefully by the end they're both able to come together and work things out. And there's probably like someone bigger as the villain in this one as well.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Um, have you saw the first Doctor Strange, I guess, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like,
Like a Dormammu figure or something like that
yeah,
that they have to Eater of Worlds or Destroyer of Timelines or something of that nature. And I'm sure there's probably going to be some source material from comic books that they're going to pull and take pieces out of and take good parts of those characters. But yeah, who do you got in a fight, Wanda or Doctor Strange?
Wanda, easy.
Wanda?
I
No,
got
see,
Wanda.
I'm taking the Doctor Strange. I'm taking the
Really? Why? Why are you taking Doctor Strange?
I
He
just
doesn't
think
have the
he's
time
like
stone as well.
yeah, but like I just think he's like he's oh maybe
Wanda's
you're
so
right.
powerful. Like
Yeah,
she basically killed like she didn't kill Thanos, but she was going to kill Thanos if not for him
yeah,
raining fire.
she is
Um,
kind of OP.
yeah,
But I feel like she's easily manipulated. So I feel like Doctor Strange could exploit something about her, and
maybe.
because
But
Doctor
then
Strange doesn't really care. Like he's not as much of a sentimental person as like she is. So like
that's true. Just get in her head and then it's over. Like
yeah,
she just
yeah,
but
like
once she gets angry though, that's even worse, I think.
that's true.
Because
So
she can create another reality. She has a lot more power than Doctor Strange, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean Doctor Strange is one. Actually, no, she is better than Wanda. She is better than Doctor Strange. That's confirmed because you know how in WandaVision, like when Agatha was opening up that book, she said that the Scarlet Witch has more power than the Sorcerer Supreme. So and Wanda is the Scarlet Witch.
oh,
So
that is right.
so it's facts. It's factual that Wanda would probably beat Doctor Strange in a fight.
Poor Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I
but
still like
I
his
know.
character though.
Oh
Benedict
yeah, I like it.
Cumberbatch
Oh yeah, he's great.
as Doctor Strange is excellent.
In the Doctor Strange end credit scene, I forget his name. I think it's like Moto. I think something the black character who was like who was helping Doctor Strange at first and then kind
Yes,
of turned bad on him. Um, at the end, he said like no more sorcerers or something like he wants no more sorcerers in the world. So maybe he's going to be the villain of Doctor Strange too.
very possible.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Um, and do you think Wanda's kids are still alive, or do you think that was kind of just like an illusion thing that she was hearing at the
I think
end?
that's an illusion thing.
Really? Okay.
I think she may in the MCU. I think she may end up with kids in some capacity, but she's gonna have to go through a lot more suffering to get to that happy ending at the end. So no,
Really?
but from the show, I think they're done.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah. I haven't heard like what the exact cast is going to be yet for Doctor Strange 2, so I don't know if those kid actors are going to be in it. But I don't think Marvel is going to completely like wipe out those characters though because like Wiccan and Speed are pretty big characters in the comics and like they could be a part of like the Young Avengers if that's ever a thing. So maybe they are still alive, and maybe by the end of this movie, they are back in the current MCU. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be possible. Um, but yeah, I think that'll do it for WandaVision. I'll get your quick thoughts on the Shang-Chi and Eternals trailers. Not that much information going on there yet, but I think there's actually a Shang-Chi trailer coming out tonight as well, which is it's going to be pretty big.
I'll definitely
Um,
be watching that.
Nothing on Spider-Man No Way Home yet, but how did you find the first Shang-Chi trailer?
I think they're gonna knock I think they're gonna knock that one out of the park. Like I think they're gonna like I think they obviously have enough resources, and I think they're gonna be particularly careful about making Shang-Chi very well done. That's gonna be an excellent movie. Like there's yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, like they they seem to be going into more of that diversity element. Not that Shang-Chi's not a bad superhero to have like in the Marvel comics or whatever.
Yep.
But I think they're gonna pay particular close attention, and I think the end product will be good. The Eternals, I think, is gonna flop. I don't really see.
Eternals gonna flop. Yeah, I could see that happening too. Honestly,
Kid actors are just tough, man. Like kid actors are like the good ones are a dime a dozen, and when you have so many of them, like you see it in like the Power
who are the
Rangers
kid
movie.
actors? Like, there's only I think one, isn't there in Eternals? Who
Aren't
are
they
the
all
kid
like very
actors?
young though? They're like
No. They're older. Like how young are you talking here? Like
like
teenagers?
like no, like early 20s.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm
Um,
maybe I'm wrong.
Eternals cast. I know like there's one character who's pretty young, but I think the rest of them are pretty established. Like you got Angelina Jolie, Salma
Oh,
Hayek, Richard
I'm
Madden.
thinking I must be thinking of another movie.
Yeah, maybe.
There just seems like a lot of them to like have all of them have good story arcs.
Oh, for
And
sure. Yeah,
it just seems like it might be a muddled mess. Like the Avengers took a long time to develop. Like even the first Avengers came after must have been four setup movies to get to that point. And then you're just gonna have
yes,
all of these brand new people team up together
yeah.
in like one go. Like
It's gonna be tough. And where were they all this time too? We're gonna need answers. Like why
yeah,
didn't they step in during Infinity War or Endgame?
yeah,
But I think it's gonna be a lot of like flashbacks to like before like 2008, I guess, like before the first Iron Man movie, like because these people were like the very first people on Earth, I think. Like they were created by the Celestials, I believe, or the Eternals came before the Celestials. I'm not too
mhm,
sure on that. But they're basically gods, and I guess we'll get a ton of backstory uh, to how they came about. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see like how they all meshed with each other because I think there's like at least 10 of them. I think there's at least 10 Eternals. Um, so we'll see how they mesh. But I really like the actors in it. I think they'll do a good job. They're a bunch of like Oscar winning actors.
yeah.
Um, and I like the trailer too. It was nothing like too like revealing, I guess.
No,
But I mean the aesthetic of it looks okay. But I could also see it flopping if people don't like it. But because
like
it's tough because like we haven't seen any of these we haven't seen any of these characters in the MCU before, so it's always tricky bringing in new characters, especially a lot of them
yeah.
at once.
Yeah, like the problem Marvel has now is the MCU is so big that whenever they bring out a new product, it's always going to be we're going to compare that movie to the Avengers or we're going to compare that movie to like the first Iron Man movie or whatever. So like the movies themselves might actually be quite good, but then when you do the comparison between that and an already well established Avenger or Marvel movie, like it just might not be up to snuff or whatever. Or like the people that grew up watching the first Iron Man movie to Avengers Endgame like are a lot older now, so they need to
Yeah.
get a lot of that younger demographic now too. So they're in a weird position right now because like they're bridging the gap between everything that's new with all of the old characters.
Yeah, it's a weird transition phase, but yeah, I think what they could do to really like have a smoother transition is to have like characters that we saw in the Infinity Saga in these new movies. So like
Yeah,
in Shang-Chi, there's a scene in San Francisco. Have Scott Lang in a scene or two,
yeah,
or at least a mention of him or something, because that would make sense to do. In the Eternals, I think we might get like a Thanos appearance, like a baby Thanos, apparently in that movie. So I think
oh,
that might help the transition as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, if they work out, and I think at least Shang-Chi will work out. I think Shang-Chi is kind of on the same level as like a Black Panther in terms of the diversity and the culture shift of the
yeah.
MCU. And like Shang-Chi as well in the comics, I think he's one of the best like hand-to-hand fighters. I'd love to see like a Captain America versus him fight, but I don't think we're ever gonna get to see that.
No,
Um,
he's lived his life.
yeah, he's lived his life. Who knows where he is now? Um, but yeah, I'm excited for both of them. I'm really excited for the Spider-Man No Way Home one as well, especially if like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in it. But it's not confirmed
Yeah,
yet.
I was reading some theories about that. Like they're gonna bring them all. They're gonna like amalgamate them all.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
And
gonna happen.
there's also an Into the Spider-Verse sequel coming too,
Oh, is there? Okay.
which it should be dope because
I
that
haven't
movie
seen the
was.
first one. I did not see
You
the
haven't
first
seen
one.
Into the Spider-Verse?
No, I
Oh,
need to watch it.
put that on the list of something to watch. It is an excellent movie.
Yeah, I should definitely watch it. That's with who's like the Spider-Man character in that? Like what's
Miles
his name?
Morales.
Miles Morales. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
need to watch that.
that is
Yeah.
a yeah,
Is
it's a
that
visually stunning movie and like it tells a very good story. And it's like it's a short watch too. It's only like an hour and a half, so
okay?
it's not a huge time commitment, but definitely worth a watch.
Is that Sony that made that? It's not. It's not Marvel
I
Studios.
I don't know.
I think
Let's
it's.
see here.
I think it's on Disney Plus or maybe on Netflix. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a Sony.
Sony. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'll actually watch that soon. I think I need more Marvel stuff to watch, so I'll definitely watch that. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, let's talk some Star Wars, or
Yes.
if you want to talk some Star Wars, because I don't know
Oh,
Star Wars, but I watched like the first I think 3 episodes of The Mandalorian, and I don't know why, but I just stopped and I kind of
yeah.
got bored of it. But like, I probably could have kept going, but I just got busy or something. Maybe I'll get back into it at some point. But is that series like done now, or are there
Yeah.
still more that's done?
Mandalorian season 1 is over. It finished up just at the sort of Marchish, if I remember correctly.
Season one? I thought there was like 3 seasons. No.
No, just season 1.
Okay.
But season 2 is already in the works, and then we've got another spin-off on that of the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
Star
Okay.
Wars is full steam ahead right now, and they're churning out excellent products. Like a lot of people don't even want them to make movies anymore because their TV shows are just so much better and just so much better world building.
I heard
I'm
that in like 2025 or something, Taika Waititi is gonna make a movie about Star Wars as well. The guy who did Ragnarok.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they
So
need
that would be
to
pretty epic. They got
yeah.
to step up their
So
movie game.
oh the sequels after the original trilogy were awful.
Right.
Like
Right.
just not even worth a watch. It's just like big slap in the face to Star Wars fans. And I'm like, I've consumed pretty much every TV and movie product that Star Wars has come out, and they're just awful. I don't know.
Um.
Like I'm big into the Star Wars. I know it's not for everybody, but I love getting immersed in that, and they've got so much cool stuff you can watch.
I heard. I think it was the last episode of The Mandalorian. There was like a pretty big cameo.
Yeah.
Um. Luke Skywalker, I believe, right? He was in and the same character that played him in the movies, right?
Yep. Yep.
So
Like
how was that? Like how was that reaction for you seeing that? And were you expecting it or was it just completely catching you off
oh no,
guard?
I was pretty expecting it. When you
Oh,
have
really?
a force sensitive Baby Yoda uh, looking character, it seems only fitting for the timeline to have a Luke Skywalker show up and take him to be trained to become a Jedi and that sort of stuff.
Oh, so that's what
So
happens at the end. So that's a big spoiler.
yeah,
He just takes Baby Yoda. And then what happens to like the Mandalorian then?
it just sort of ends and they go
Okay.
and everyone sort of goes on their way and Boba Fett goes back to um, Mos Eisley. No, goes back to Tatooine and claims the throne that Jabba the Hutt used to sit on and that sort of stuff. So that's setting up his new story arc. So they've got so
Okay.
many cool characters in that they're sort of branching off and giving them their own spin-off TV show or spin-off movie or whatever.
Hmm.
So like all of the stuff that Star Wars is doing right now is so good for their brand.
Right.
Like
And then
they have the MCU and it seems like they have the Star Wars expanded universe now too. So
yeah, it's exciting times. The book of Boba Fett, is that going to be featuring the Mandalorian as well? Because I think I saw him like on the image for the show coming out.
yeah, he's probably on set.
He's on set.
I haven't really heard much of it until since the episode aired that said that was coming out soon.
Right.
Um, but it still might be another 2 years before they get that in the works.
Really? Okay.
Because I think season 2 of The Mandalorian will come out first, and then the Book of Boba Fett will lag behind that.
Okay. I think I
But
saw.
both of those should be excellent.
I think I said it says December, the Book of Boba Fett.
Then
which is pretty soon. That could be wrong, but I think the one source that I was looking at said that.
Then maybe I'm
Sci-fi.
backwards.
I don't even know. I'm not sure.
But whatever comes out of the Star Wars hat, I'm probably going to be watching. So
maybe I should get into it. Yeah, I should get into it.
If you ever get into Star Wars, I'm available for any podcast.
For any podcast, yeah.
Stars.
It's like every episode recap for Star Wars. But you watched The Bad Batch, and I did not, but I've heard some pretty good reviews on it. What did you think of that show? And I guess what was the plot of the show too, so I can learn a bit more about it.
So it's still going on right now. There's still episodes coming out every Friday. So that's sort of my weekly routine, is to watch it on every Friday. So essentially what it is it's an experimental clone unit that's not like the regular clones. They have genetic mutations that make them better at what they do. So there's 5 of them, and each one has its own special ability. Like one's super strong, one's a good tracker, one's an excellent marksman, one is like very smart and like good with tech, and then one is like half robot, half clone. So you got all of those characters.
It's like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, essentially it's the time when Order 66 comes out. All the inhibitor chips work in all of the regular clones, but it doesn't work in experimental clone unit 99, which is all of these guys.
Okay.
And essentially it's not working for them, so they don't conform to the Empire. So now they're on the run and they're being hunted by the Empire because they're like they're not conforming to the system. And so it just follows like what they're up to and the different characters that they meet. And they do a lot of tying in with like the episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and like Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated series. So there's a lot of tie-ins and stuff with that, and it's just, if you like Star Wars: The Clone Wars, you'll like this.
Okay. And is it coming to an end soon? Like there's only a few more episodes, or?
I don't quite remember. How many episodes are we on right now? I think we're on 6 or 7.
Okay.
So I imagine they'll push it to 10 at least.
10. Yeah. And it's like an hour-long episode each, I guess?
No, they're like for TVs. They're like 25 minutes each.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow, you could really just get through that in a day almost, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once a week. It seems like they should be releasing 2 a week if the episodes are that short, because that's not that much content, unless the episodes are like jam-packed with content.
Yeah, like they're not overly jam-packed with content, so like it is a bit of a grind waiting for only 25 minutes every week, but
yeah.
But the show's been good so far, and
that's good.
I would recommend it if you're into the Star Wars brand, but it's not for everybody. Right. I know a lot of people who just can't get into it, so either you like it or you don't.
What would you recommend for someone like getting into Star Wars? Like, do you recommend them watching all the movies first, or do you recommend them starting on like a TV show like The Mandalorian or something like that? Or what would be your advice?
The good part about like shows like The Mandalorian is they're sort of standalone away from the rest of the Star Wars product. So like if you want something that's a little bit more palatable, as like good TV, The Mandalorian's a good place to start. But if you want to get like engrossed in the whole Star Wars brand, I guess you could say, start with episode 1, A Phantom Menace. Watch all the way up to episode 6 of the movies, and then watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated series. And that's like the bulk of all the Star Wars products. And then you can watch the sequels, but the sequels are kind of, I don't recommend them, so
they don't really
worth your time. But like they put out so much content now, I can see how it's like it's very it's very hard for people to get into because there's just so much stuff you have
Yeah.
to watch in order to be caught up. Like I'm in it, so like
You're
I
caught
only
up.
watch
Like, yeah.
I only watch my one thing per week, and I
Yeah.
already have all the previous knowledge.
That's sick. Yeah. It's nice to follow the storyline, and it's the same with Marvel, right? You don't want to get behind. You don't want to miss anything because then like you're way behind. You don't want to have to be trying to catch up. You want to be up
Yeah,
to
like
date with the current stuff.
that's the problem for everyone. Like starting a series that has like 6 seasons. It's like, oh, do I really want the time commitment?
Yeah.
Especially like the older you get, like the less time you seem to have because you're working on your career, you're working on whatever else you're
Exactly.
doing. So
Yeah. And I guess that's the tricky part with all these TV shows now because people just kind of want to go to the theater and watch a movie, and that's less time consuming than actually like sitting down and watching like an entire season of a show or waiting like week to week for each episode. But
yeah,
I mean, it's good. It's good quality television. And I think Marvel's done a good job, and I'm sure Star Wars has done a pretty good job of enticing the fans. And I think Disney Plus is just a great platform now that's
yeah,
just going to keep expanding.
yeah.
So,
Disney Plus is weird though, because like they only really have like the old Disney products, so they're like way behind Netflix. Whereas like Netflix has all of its Netflix originals and all that sort of stuff.
mhm.
But like if you're really into Disney products, like Disney Plus is perfect for that. Like it's got
Yeah.
all of the old like family classics that most
Yep.
people grew up with, and then and then but their access to like what stuff they can put on. Like they have all of the Star Wars stuff, they have all of the Marvel stuff, and then they've got a whole bunch of smaller companies that they've purchased over the years. So like there's actually a good amount of content on there for them not putting out that many TV shows or movies yet. But they're only
Yeah.
gonna the repertoire is gonna just keep getting bigger.
Yeah, for sure. It only kicked off like a couple of years ago, so it's only going to get bigger. But I don't know if it's ever going to transform into Netflix. But I mean, personally, I prefer Disney Plus just because probably mostly because of the Marvel stuff. Like Netflix just has like the Avengers and like Civil War and like
Yeah.
a couple of the Marvel movies, but Disney's got it all. So, um, yeah, you want to talk some hockey a little bit? Stanley
Sound
Cup predictions. I need to ask. I feel like if it's this close to the end of the year, all the guests that I get on, I need a Stanley Cup prediction because it's coming down to the end now. We got Montreal and Vegas tonight. Montreal can advance to the Stanley Cup final with a win. And Tampa and the Islanders are going to game 7 on Friday. So that's up for grabs too. Let's go with the Tampa Islanders series first. Who do you think is going to win game 7 on Friday night?
I'm feeling the Islanders. I think the Islanders take it and advance, and then I got the Habs. I got the
You got
Habs
the
tonight.
Habs. You got the Habs
Yeah,
tonight. Habs are
yeah.
going to. All right. Yeah.
Carey Price is too much of a luck box. Like he's too good in the playoffs. Like
He's a brick wall.
he's the
Yeah.
only reason the Habs like even made it out of game 1 of the Toronto series. Like,
Yeah, I guess so. It's such a
and it
shame.
seems like the more he plays, like the more playoff games he's in, like he just keeps getting better. So I
Yep.
don't see I don't see how the Golden Knights are gonna break through that guy. But
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
have to see what happens.
they got 2 games to do it. Yeah, but I'm leaning towards the same direction as you. I think Montreal ends it. I don't know about tonight, but I would feel really confident heading into a game 7 as well if I'm a Canadiens fan. But it's tricky. Like Vegas is still in this series. Like they just have to win 2 games. It's not like a huge task. And especially I think like Robin Leonard's playing tonight instead of Fleury, and he played terrific in game 4.
Yeah, that was a
So
mistake. That was a game 5 mistake putting
putting
Flurry
Fleury
back
in,
in.
yeah, I think
Like
so too.
just like they should have just rocked the same guy they had and just like seeing what happens. And if he loses that game, then you put Flurry back in for game 6 tonight and you
Yeah,
see what happens. And then if you win that game, then you poke your head up at when before game 7 and say who do we want to go with.
exactly. Yeah, I know that
But
was a
it's
tough
like he
call.
comes off a really good game and you just put him back on the bench. Like that
Yeah,
seems counterintuitive, but I will never know what the coaches are thinking or what makes the most sense. I'm not one of those fans.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying though. I think they should. You stick with the hot guy in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
especially as your goaltender. Like Leonard came off. Was it even a shutout? No, I think it was a one goal he let in.
But it was like
And
41 days of rest, right? It was
for
something
Leonard,
ridiculous.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Like
Um,
40 days without playing a game, and then you just have to like, alrighty, Chief, here you go.
There you go. You're starting in
Figure
net.
it out.
Yeah. And then he's starting tonight as well. So I think he's going to have a big game. I think Vegas has a good chance of winning tonight still. They're probably going to play their best game of the series facing elimination. And then back home in a game 7, it's going to be tough to beat them as well. But
They just
I,
gotta get
I,
2 goals, and Montreal will be smooth sailing.
right, because Price is only going to let in 1. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm going to say Tampa in the other series.
Tampa.
I think Tampa's just too good. Like the Islanders have all that momentum now, but I think Tampa can hold them off in a game 7. But Kucherov might not play, which is going to be a wild card because he got injured last game.
Yeah, he got it in the ribs, right? He got a
You got a cross check. Yeah.
nice
So
blow to the ribs.
I know. But yeah, if he doesn't play, then I'd be pretty concerned, I think, if I'm Tampa, because he's a big part. But if he's playing, like I don't think there's any doubt that the Islanders will lose that and the Lightning move on. But in the other series, it's tough to say, but I'll say Montreal because I want to see it happen too. But in the finals, who do you got? If it's Islanders and Habs?
Islanders in 5.
Islanders in 5. Wow. Wow.
I see the Habs running out of gas, and they just like
I was not expecting that. Islanders in 5 games.
like I'm a Habs fan too, so like I'm not being biased,
Oh,
but
true. Yeah.
or I'm being less biased than if I just pick Habs the whole way. But I think like the Habs are just running out of gas, and like some of the what was it? It was game 2 or game 3 where it was something like 36 shots to like 11 for the Vegas Golden Knights, and they somehow squeak a win out of that. And it's like, oh my goodness, like
They're just hanging on. Right.
they're just riding the coattails of Carey Price, and they don't
Yeah.
generate enough offense
Yeah, I'll say if
to be
the
a threat.
Islanders win game 7 and it is Islanders Montreal, I think Montreal wins the series. I think Montreal has a way tougher chance of winning against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is just such a complete team, but I think Montreal would love to play the Islanders, especially mostly just because it's not Tampa. That's probably the main reason because they
Yeah.
have no chance against Tampa. I don't think. I don't want to say no chance, but probably gonna end in
Yeah, they were
like
supposed to
6
have no
games.
chance against Toronto, and look how that turned out.
That's very true, but Tampa Bay Lightning is not the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, yeah, they don't have the
Yeah,
playoff curse of not being able to
exactly,
get out of the first round.
exactly. So, but yeah, I'll say Tampa, Montreal in the final, and it might go to 7. And then Tampa's on home ice. I don't want to go against Montreal though. That's the thing because they keep surprising me. So if I
Yeah.
don't say Montreal, I kind of regret it because I want to say Montreal. I think they can actually pull it off. But yeah, so you think Islanders in 5 though? Like that's your final prediction
If they make it there.
if they make it there, right? Okay. I
But
mean, yeah, we'll see what happens there. I
I'll
don't
let
think
the
it's
puck
going to end
decide.
that. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to end that quickly. I hope it doesn't. That would be terrible for Canadians fans.
I'm not that big of a follower of hockey, but I've enjoyed the playoffs and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So,
Yep.
but I'll take the super risky bet with Islanders in 5.
Okay. Let's see if it pays off. Okay. To wrap it up, let's talk a little bit about the Blue Jays. Have you been watching much Jays this year?
A little bit, not
Yeah.
too much.
Yes, same here, really. But I think we kind of both probably understand what's wrong with the team, though. Like we see the offense is doing really well. Obviously, Vladdy's having like an MVP caliber season.
Bro, they just
Springer's
need
back
like
now.
2 guys in the bullpen to just figure
Yeah,
it out.
exactly. That's what I was gonna get to. Like they just
Just
need
figure it
2
out.
guys in the pen because they blow too many leads. So I
Yeah, it's
mean,
like they'll put
yeah,
the offense will put up like 6 runs in the first 5 innings, and then once you get to inning 6, 7, and 8, where you're where your starter's gone. Like
Yeah.
Montoya is just sitting in there like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody blows the lead. Like
Like bringing
Rafael
Romano
Dolis, like
for
Chatwood, they just blow everything. But Romano's been okay, I think, the last few
yeah, but
games.
you can't get 4 innings out of him is the problem.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
you get 1.5 good innings out of him or 2 innings out of him, and then what do you do for the other two? And
Exactly.
you leave him for 8 and 9. So
Well, they just signed John Axford, like that 38-year-old Canadian pitcher
well,
who was on the Jays like a
hopefully,
couple years ago. But I don't know if that's going to pan out that much. It's kind of a wild card with him. But yeah, I think at the deadline, I would probably look at adding at least 2 guys in the bullpen, and then maybe even a starting pitcher as well. Like if they want to go for it this year, because I think right now they're like 5.5 games back of first place in the East. Because Boston's been terrific, surprisingly. I wasn't expecting them to be this good.
yeah, they sort of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then like the Yankees, I think they're a couple games up on the Jays. But yeah, if the Jays can string like a big winning streak together, they're right back in the thick of things. And
Yeah.
like they could still get a wild card spot too, because I think Tampa's like not too high up on them in the wild card race. But yeah, are you on in the same boat? Like maybe go after a starter at the deadline?
Yeah, they seem fine offensively. Like they need to bulk up their pitching staff and their rotation and options to have in the bullpen because what they're working with right now just isn't working. So
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think like they have a
either
chance to? Oh yeah, keep going.
they're gonna need to make some serious moves at the deadline if they want to get enough guys to be a contender. But if they're not gonna do any moves or they're not gonna be competitive this year, then start bringing up guys from AAA and sort of seeing what you can work with from
That's
guys in
true.
AAA, and then sort of try and bolster the development and get people acclimatized to the big leagues, and then get them in and then get them ready for next year. But
Definitely, yeah.
like their offense seems too good to just be wasted on like not going for a playoff spot. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
I mean it's kind of like 2015 in some way. I think in 2015 like they started their season off with Drew Hutchison as their starting pitcher. And then at the deadline, they get David Price, and then Stroman came back from injury. So like they had that 1-2 punch, and they also had Marco Estrada, which was a steady guy in the rotation
Yeah.
as well. Now they have Ryu, and I'll put Alek Manoah there in that conversation. I think that's a pretty good 1-2 to have. Then they have like Steven Matz, who's been okay, I would say. I think he has an ERA over 4, but I mean that's okay for like a fourth guy in the
Yeah.
rotation.
Robbie Ray's been okay as well. He's
Yeah,
been
Robbie Ray's been okay.
so
Yeah,
we'll just
if they add like another middle of the rotation guy, I think they're gonna be set for a playoff run, but they have to get there first. And like I
yeah.
said, like they're like 5.5 games back, so like that might not seem like too much, but they would need a big winning streak to make up some ground
Yeah.
on Boston because I don't.
Especially like you said, like with the Red Sox being sort of a sleeper pick, but they're playing very well and they're stringing together wins. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Vlad sort of came out of nowhere, like compared to the last 2 years he played. Like the last 2 years he played for what people were saying about him, he was playing pretty poorly.
Yeah,
But he's finally living up to that hype and that potential. Whereas Bo seems to be going in the opposite direction. Like he's steady and consistent, but he's just sort of he's not quite there when you compare him to some of the other young shortstops.
yeah, not yet, but I think everybody kind of compares him to Tatis, but I think
Yeah,
Tatis is just like he's another type of player. Like,
that's the problem. Is like Tatis is a freak of nature, so it's like
yeah, it's tough to compare him. But I don't think Bo has hit his peak though yet because he's still so
no,
young. Like
no,
he's gonna get a lot better. I don't think he'll like he could get to a Vladdy caliber, but I don't think he's ever gonna have that same power. Obviously, like he might hit for a better average than Vladdy at some point in his career.
yeah, he's just not big enough.
Yeah. But I mean, Vladdy's putting up like triple crown type numbers right now. And
Yeah.
let's hope he keeps it up because he's only like 22 years old and he's going to have a great career if he's putting up these numbers right now. So he
Yeah, the
can
problem is when
single-handedly.
they actually have to pay him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna
Don't
like
don't
he's
don't do the thing that the Leafs did. Don't start competing when you give the big boys the contracts.
yeah.
Because now Matthews is getting paid, Marner, Tavares. Like you got to win when these guys are still on their rookie deals, and I think it's 6 years, right? The 6 year entry level contract for baseball, I believe.
Yeah, it's
So
something like that.
Vladdy's on like his third year now, I think.
Yeah.
So you got like a 3 year window, and I think they can do it in a 3 year window for sure. They could win. Do you
Yeah.
think they could win in 3 years?
I sure hope so. Like it would be good to have it. It would be good to have a Toronto team to cheer for again. And like 2015 was crazy with all of that sort of stuff. And you have a lot of homegrown talent now, so it's like they should be able to put something together.
Yeah,
But like it's crazy because like the Padres and like the Dodgers like just keep seem to getting better, and
it's not fair.
I
Well, they got
like
a ton of money to
yeah
work
like
with.
they're just Goliaths, and they just suck up all of these good players, and they don't really give a damn about how much money they spend to do it.
Yeah.
But
Same with the Yankees too. Like I was watching some of that Dodgers Padres game last night. That was like a really good game. I forget who. I think the Dodgers ended up winning it like late in the game, but those two teams are just really fun to watch. And like you said, the Dodgers are just stacked from top to bottom. Like their rotation is one of the best in the league. Their lineup is stacked. Like they won the World Series last year. Who did they go out and get? Trevor Bauer. Like,
yeah,
how do you stop that? It's insane.
yeah, but he's peaked. Like he's not getting any better.
He's not getting any better, but he's still really good. He's got
Yeah.
like a 2.90 ERA this year. Um,
Overpaid or underpaid or
oh,
paid the right amount.
no, overpaid. I think
Overpaid.
any pitcher that makes the money that he's making is overpaid. Because especially on the Dodgers, like he's not even their ace.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's got that fat contract.
yeah, I know. The Jays might have done it, but they said they got Ryu. Well, they settled for Springer. I would have preferred Springer at the end of the day.
What's going on with him? I haven't really been following. Is he like?
Well, he's been hurt for most of the year.
What the heck was he doing? Like I
Not well, he came into the season with an injury. And then he played, I think, like 3 games, then he got injured again. And now apparently he's great, according to him. He says he's great. And he's played the last 2 games or 3 games. And I mean, he hasn't been good. He's batting under 200. But he has 2 home runs in like the few games that he's played as well. But I'm sure he's gonna heat up at some point. Let's hope.
yes, just have to wait.
At least
What
he's
do you
back, like playing in center field too.
yeah. What do you think of the sticky stuff where they're checking all the pitchers more rigorously now, and
Why
they're
did that
hitting
start? Do you know why that started?
yeah. So funnily enough, Trevor Bauer actually has been tweeting about it for it seems like the last 5 years or whatever, talking about how all these pitchers who have ridiculous spin rates, it's not natural what they're able to do with the baseball with no foreign substance help.
Right.
So a lot of guys have got their own special concoction, things like that. There was that one, I think it was a Dodgers, like it was like a Dodgers. Um, he was like an attendant or whatever who like worked in the clubhouse, and
Right.
he had his own special sticky stuff that if you put on the ball, you can raise your spin rate.
Yeah.
So now they're finally starting to crack down on it because everyone's like, what the heck's going on? And they're going after all of the big boys. Like Jacob deGrom was the first person to get
checked. Right.
And it's funny because so many people came out and said, no, he's clean. Like he's just a freak. Like just
Yeah.
what he does is one of one in the world that can do what he can do.
Yeah.
But Max Scherzer
I saw that.
got checked like 4 times in one game or 3 times in one game. And he was just a little pissed because he's like, you already checked me once and I was clean.
Yeah,
Like,
it's way too excessive, honestly. Like do it once a game, max. Like I understand, like just do it once after the first inning and let the guys settle into the game after that. I would say,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
or even do it before the inning starts, like before the game.
yeah, because like the managers are going to use that as a way to like rattle the pitcher. Like they're going to be like they're going to send the crew chief out there every
Is it the
2 innings or
manager that
whatever.
decides?
No, at the beginning of the
Right.
game they just check because they have to be checked now.
Yeah.
But before they had all these rules,
Yeah. Right. The
you would
managers.
you would come out and you'd be like, I think he's got some
Yeah. Yeah.
sticky
Yeah.
stuff or whatever.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
know.
When I
I don't
always
know.
think of that, I think of Michael Pineda, and like I think he got caught like 2 or 3 times with the pine tar, like on his neck.
Yeah, the neck and
And the
there was
glove, I
like the
think.
one on the wrist
The
or in the
wrist.
glove.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But
yeah,
no, it's funny watching Scherzer, and I think Sergio Romo also got checked a couple nights ago, and he was pretty animated
yeah.
as well. So yeah, I
Well,
think
like
it's very excessive though.
it's a weird conversation to have because on the one hand, like when you're pitching on those cold days, like I've played on those cold days, like you cannot grip the ball to save your life. So like, where's
Yeah.
the line between like just getting enough to grip onto the baseball versus like stuff that it's adding a ridiculous amount of rotations per minute. And
Yeah.
I don't know, there was like the Trevor Bauer phenomenon where he went from like 1800 average RPM up to like 2400, which is impossible to do without help from some
Yeah,
stuff.
like some sticky stuff. Yeah.
And I've heard some stories of like people hire professional chemists to get them like the perfect mixture of stuff that I don't know, like it's ridiculous what they seem to be doing.
Just make it legal, and then everybody can do it, and then they're gonna cause a lot of problems for the hitters.
Yeah, well, it's already like an all-time low uh of averages right now. And I saw a
Yeah.
good tweet. It was like people are wondering why averages are so low when they're shifting them into oblivion, like playing everybody into the shift.
Yeah. Exactly.
Guys are throwing 98 with 4 feet of run, and then like now they've deadened the balls a little bit. So it's like you've got the perfect storm of just the ability to
Great
get guys
combination.
out.
Exactly. Yeah. What do
So
you think of the shift? Do you think the shift should stay legal, or do you think there should be like a limit on that?
um I'm pretty indifferent to the shift. I feel like you might just have to train hitters to be better hitters, and then the shift won't be much of a problem. I feel like that would be better, but I know everyone wants to yank the ball over the fence. So I think
Yep.
I could
Just
see it
bunt.
where like,
Just
yeah,
drop a
I could
bunt.
see it where like you have to keep your shortstop on their side. So like you can only put him so far as second base instead of putting like 3 defenders on the right side and having like just the third baseman playing where the shortstop does.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm sort of indifferent to it. Like my
Yeah.
team uses it, so like it's moved down the levels of baseball.
I think that does it for the show then. Talked about a lot of stuff. It's good to have you on, Nathan. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on. I'll put your Instagram in the description below. Anything else that you want me to plug in the description? Your stats or anything for UBC?
No, I don't. My stat line's not too great with our season getting canned last
That's
year
true,
and
right?
like half of the season getting canned the year before. So there hasn't been that many games that I've played in the UBC uniform, but hopefully we can change that for this. No, I'd just like to thank you for your time and having me on, and hopefully we get to do this again. This was a lot of fun, and I'm a big supporter of the podcast, and everybody who's watching, follow this guy, spread it around. He puts a lot of time and effort into all of his podcasts and things like that. So if you want to show him some love, he does really good work, and
Appreciate it.
hopefully we can blow him up into the next Joe Rogan.
Let's see. It's a big ask, but hey, you never know. Yeah, thanks a lot, Nathan. I appreciate that. Where can people find the games? Like, can you live stream get the UBC games like on a website or something?
Yeah, so we just got a big donation where we are getting brand new cameras put into our field.
Oh,
So if you
nice.
just go onto the UBC baseball website, there's a link where you can live stream all of our games. So our season starts late February and goes till uh, goes till the end of April, and then playoffs start in May. So follow
right.
us.
Sure. Yeah, I'll put
Follow
that
us.
link
Play
in the.
NAI.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to tune in to a couple of games next year for sure.
Beautiful.
Then, so, yeah. All right, that'll do it for the show. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, show Nathan a lot of love, and we'll be back with another episode coming soon. So, see you guys later. Take care and peace.